Hey, you guys, it's your girl Jess, and this is another episode of Thought Provoking Podcast. I said I wasn't going to come and talk to y'all until Sunday, but in the likes of the Just Hilarious Breakfast Club situation, I was moved to chorus, and I've had an interesting perspective on it. Two things happening to me. So, first, I'm very, very, very spiritual. As soon as I seen it, I said, man, that's how the enemy trick you out your spot. And then on another level, it brings to another point because that is the, psychological definition of imposter syndrome. And if you don't know what that is, the imposter syndrome is the feeling of being a fraud or a phony despite your achievements or skills. I feel like amidst her return, she was almost made to feel, and not even made to feel, sometimes that's a self thing. I've oftentimes accepted the lesser than and thinking that's what I deserve, right? So I feel like when you start, especially when you start elevating in life, when you start being in rooms with people, places, and things where, because God is going to put you places where, and sit you at tables where you're like, these people are higher in rank. Am I here? And you cannot allow the enemy to trick you out your spot. And it was very sad to watch it because that's exactly what that was. That was her inner self telling her that she's not good enough. Everybody up here got a journalist degree. Everybody up here got an accolade, and I am inferior on paper in comparison to when God gave you a skill, or when God give you a talent, you just dope at it. You just good at it. It don't matter what rooms you're in. So that was very tricky to watch. And then um, it's gonna be very challenging for her to come back from. Oftentimes when you have those episodes of like imposter syndromes, or you have like these episodes of like not feeling worthy, you tend to act out. And where she messed up at is she mentioned the Angela Yee situation, which was very, very sensitive for the station. I think that's why DJ Envy has such an emotional attachment to it, because she made mention of some stuff that they had just fought through, which could tip it could, trick her out her spot. It come contract time, they may not renew her contract, because now every time Jess get in her feelings, she gonna go on Instagram. That's how that is perceived. I do want to give it up to Lauren. She like was so eloquent, and that is like the skill, right? And when we go in these rooms with these people, places, and things, you can't be scared to ask for help, because if it was me, and I felt like the other young lady had something that I didn't have, I'm already in the room. I already got the job. I might as well get some knowledge off the people who went to school and standing right next to me. So I think ego, ego will do it to you. Ego will have your ass sitting somewhere, and instead of saying, you know what, I'm gonna ask old girl to help me with my speech. I'm gonna ask old girl help me learn how to read on air without challenge. I think that would have worked out for her. And it's so sad when I watched her cry. I was like, oh my goodness, it's so sad to watch that, because I've done that to myself. I'll never forget, I was in a teaching position, and at the time I didn't have like all my paperwork, and I was teaching at a monastery school. But the director and the principal, they loved me because I was making lesson plans, and I was working on cognitive thinking with the kids. I was really taking my job seriously. And I let the chatter in the teacher's lounge make me feel inadequate, which allowed me to have an episode similar to hers, where I go in the office and I'm like, it's red like children, and I ruffled so many feathers that they didn't even feel that way about me. It was really me. It wasn't them at all. And now she's going to have to rebuild off of this, because there's going to be a consequence. There's going to be a kickback. The other young lady, I believe her name is Lauren, she is more put together, when we talking about marketing and we talking about radio personalities and speaking, she is what you're looking at. And even how she handled the situation was chef's kiss. And to watch just like literally trick herself out of her spot because she felt inferior. Nobody was making you feel like that. Even if she want to say, well, the comments gonna sign your check. The comments gonna sign your check. So in the real world, I don't care what somebody say about me, let alone some people who don't know me. So I hope her next big venture, she learned this was a lesson. Like, I hope she take the lesson for this. I hope her and Lauren work together, but I really feel like there's gonna be a departure because there's really no need, if you want to be honest, there's no need for four. And instead of her using her time there to get the tea, so to speak. Like, if I'm gonna be in a room with a journalist, somebody who went to school for journalism, she my executive producer, and she another black girl, I'm getting ready to go to the University of Lauren. I'm about to learn everything she knows, just in case she here to take my spot. I can go get a job somewhere else. Because that's a heck of a notch to have on your resume. That ain't no light work to have on your resume. But this episode now will tarnish all the good work you done. It's so funny how the devil will not only trick you out your spot, but he will make it like a trickle down effect. So not only did you make me feel inferior, I have an episode, but it's gonna other people are gonna be scared to work with her because don't nobody want to deal with as soon as you get mad you on the internet with it. Like, just come holler at me. So it was very interesting. I just wanted to get my little 2, 3, 4 cents on it because watching her cry was very like, man, I've done that before where I'm like in rooms with people that's higher rank and I don't feel as adequate or I don't feel like I should be in these rooms. It was another incident, another story. I'll never forget, it was a up and coming politician in Detroit. She was coming to Detroit and her name was, I wonder if I can say her, but I'm just gonna say she was up and coming politician from Detroit. She was a Detroit, born and raised in Detroit, but she wasn't a resident. And she was interested in me working on her campaign. And I was so like, what she want with me? Why does she want me to work on? Like, who am I? And I have tricked myself out of positions that would have probably changed my life because I felt like I deserved the lesser than. So I wish her well. I hope she navigates that well. I hope she continues through, but contractually, if I was the EP on the show, if I was the head on the like mentioning that Angela Yee situation, that's where she burnt herself. That's where she burnt herself. She should have never said nothing about that because it was so tense, and we don't want Angela Yee to be able to come back and be like, I told y'all. So that alone will get her contract not. If it was me, she would have been suspended. So just because this is a job, this is not Instagram where you going back and forth. So and she should have really approached that a little different. But we all can be like, oh, you should have did, you should have said. I get it. I've been there where I've been in rooms and I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't deserve to be here. I'm about to show my ass. So, and it be like that. But that is the example. If you ever want to be like, what is imposter syndrome? What it look like? That's exactly what it looked like when the devil trick you out your spot. You already there. You already in the room. Is the conversation on if you deserve to be there or not don't even matter because you're there. Now it's time to profit off of being there. And she should have leaned on Lauren instead of felt like it was a competition. And oftentimes with black women, we do that where we'll be in rooms with each other and instead of leaning on each other, we beefing. So she should have leaned on her and got the education. I love learning off of folks. Don't put me in a room with a carpenter, a doctor. I got questions, okay? I got things I need to know. So This was a little short. Like I said earlier, the statement I said I was going to talk to y'all on Sunday. So I'm thinking about just how I'm gonna set things up. I really enjoy this a lot. I will come in and do a couple of little shorts throughout the week on interesting stories. And I will be doing some lives and my cameras are coming, so it's really exciting. But we're gonna get more in-depth conversations talking about things that's going on politically, things that's going on in education, where we are as a people. So I'm very excited to expand on those things. So like I told you guys earlier, you are listening to the Thought Provoking podcast. Please like and subscribe. We are on all podcast platforms. We are up on Spotify, everywhere. And for all that you are, all of you that are supporting, I really, really appreciate it. This is only the beginning.